Welcome back to another facial analysis. Today we're going to be rating Atesh Salih. He scored an 8.04 out of 10. Let's go and review that. Now this is just based off of front harmony, and this is also just off of harmony, which is making up about 20 to 30% of attractiveness. Now if you guys would like to see your harmony yourself, I have a link in my description. You also get a discount code this above. Let's get started. So Atesh Salih, he's a model, he's an actor, and for his lateral canthal tilt, you guys can see that he did score a little on the lower side, and it's not what you would think, right? Usually when we look at, Hexam, for example, his canthal tilt is a little negative, right? Neutral to negative, right? Let's say he's on the more negative side. Whereas this, it's a overly positive, right? The hunter eyes are overly hunter or just too much, right? So that's actually what's going to score him down a little bit, right? So you can see he's about 11 to 13 degrees on his eyes. And so for his harmony, right, he actually went over the chart. You want to stay in between, right? That would be about 5 degrees to 8.4 degrees. Next up, we have the total facial width to height ratio. This is a little bit outside the ideal, right? You can see him on the chart. He has a 1.27 value, which, so his face from the bottom of his chin to the top of his hairline is 1.27 times larger than the edges of his cheekbones, or his zygos, actually. So he has a bit of a longer face, right? So that's something that definitely holds him back. If you do have a longer face, or specifically actually not optimally, but if you do have a big forehead, I actually do have a big forehead. This is why I wouldn't get a haircut like Atesh Salih has, covering your hair, right? With a large facial top third, if it's overly large, you can use your hair to balance it out, right? As long as it balances well with the other ratios. Next up, we have his neck width. So his neck width, it is outside the ideal. And this is luckily, neck is one of those things that you can easily alleviate, right? Through neck training. You can do them at night, right before you go to bed. Just grab a dumbbell. So Atesh Salih, he does have a thinner side neck, so he is a little on the first side of the bell curve. Now, as soon as he does maybe one set of neck training, it's going to increase it. Okay, it might even increase it to 88, 89%, just because it'll inflate the blood. It'll inflate his neck a little bit. Blood will be flowing. His muscles will also be a little bit more inflated due to the strenuous activity. He could get up to the ideal range within a couple months. So good on, so neck width, easy to fix. But overall, 8.66, he's slightly outside the ideal. Not terrible. His bitemporal width. So this is measuring the edges of your temples to your zygos. And he's slightly outside the ideal. He's right around hanging at that perfect ideal ratio. Really not much more to say about this. He's 1.52% outside the ideal. And the lower third. So it's actually possible that this isn't measured accurately. Now the reason why is because in this photo his lips are open, right? If his lips are closed in this, the measurement would actually be a little bit higher. So it would be around a 1 to 1.5% increase, which would make it it'd actually make it higher. So it would make him more outside the ideal, actually. So he might even be at a 39% for his lower third, which is not ideal, right? So his lower third is on the bigger side, right? But it is very close to this range. So good on him, right? The deviation of the IAA Well, he has a really good IAA. Actually, let's see if that's right. Let's see if we can find his IAA. Because his IAA looks good. You know what I mean? So, yeah, 87 degrees. So he's almost right in between, right? Almost right in between that, right? In between 84 degrees and 95 degrees. You can see he's almost like basically leaning onto the middle of this chart. So he's a very good looking guy. And quick side note, I rated Matt Bomer yesterday, and subjectively, I think this guy is slightly more attractive, even though his harmony's lower. So that's really interesting to take into account, because you know how much harmony takes into account, you know, that kind of deal. So, anyways, let's go to the where were we, guys? So his deviation of the IAA, right? This is basically this triangle right here going from your nose to the edge of your eyes comparatively to your jawline. Those want to be harmonious, as close as possible. His is a little outside the ideal, not too bad though. Now his jaw frontal angle, it's about 84 degrees. So he's right in that ideal range. And when I was measuring this, it looked like it was 90 degrees, but it actually looks like it's a little bit more narrow, similar to how his canthal tilt is, right? So he's still etching there. Anything like this, it's not going to be a huge deal if you're close to that marker. Obviously, getting to the ideal range is going to be optimal. Yeah. And if somebody's like, you know, if you have like a really crappy jaw, right, below, well, we can actually look at the chart here. I don't know, like below 76, 77, guys, there's surgeries that you can get for that. I believe double jaw surgery helps with that. And I'm sure there is other surgeries for it as well. And let's go to the middle third. So middle third, this is within the ideal, and everything else throughout this is going to be a 10 out of 10. So you can see that his lateral canthal tilt, that's marking off some points from his harmony, right? Total facial width to height ratio, that's marking it off by a marginal amount. These would be his two biggest flaws. Surprisingly, it's actually his canthal tilt, surprisingly, right? His overly positive canthal tilt, which would usually be a positive, but it's a negative now, like I was stating earlier. And then just a slightly longer face. So slightly longer face and a canthal tilt, and his neck's a little bit bad. Bad temporal width is not optimal. Not too bad. Obviously, he scored an 8 out of 10. Come on, let's be fair here, guys. All right, let's see. Yeah, so middle third, 10 out of 10, right? He's in the 32 to 35% for middle thirds. That degree range is going to be most optimal. It's also, yes, most optimal there. Perfect. So his bigonial width, yeah, ideal, very perfect. Makes up 88%, right? Right where his masseters are at, right around his masseters, comparatively to his zygos, it makes up about 88%. I think the most optimal would be right in the middle of this range. Although that does depend on your facial profile. You know, what is, you know, facial profile as in like your uniqueness, right? Not just facial harmony, but everything put in together. So he scored at 88% of that, which is, it's well suited. Very nice. So now we have the lower third proportion, ideal as well, 10 out of 10. And guys, I don't want to drag you guys all through all these other ratios, so I guess I'll just kind of be quick with these. So let's just kind of go quick. Lower third proportion, good. He got a 31%, right? Nothing too big, nothing too small. Eye separation ratio, perfect, right? This one's absolutely right in the middle, perfect. Man, I keep on losing myself on this chart. There's so many different angles and measurements. One eye apart test. Boom. Yeah, looks good. Mouth width to nose width ratio. Let's go back to this actually. I think this is common for a lot of people, right? Because this is something that you can actually fix. There's something where you can slice your canthal, the inner part of your eye. You can actually slice it to make it appear, make your eyes basically appear more closer towards each other and thin out that part of the nose, right? Not thin it out, but just make it appear closer together. So if that's ever off, that's an option you guys can do, is get that sliced, or I believe it's called like a canthal, something along with canthal. I might put it on the screen. Mouth width to nose ratio. So his is ideal. He's almost right in the middle, like almost perfect. So if you guys want like a perfect, picture, what is the ideal mouth to nose ratio? It's right here. Okay, so take a photo image of that, or just take it in your memory, whatnot. So nice. Now his face width to height ratio. So this is the middle part of his face, the mid part. Yeah, his facial, not the total, but really the center of his face is good. It's within the ideal. Perfect. The IAA, I mentioned this earlier. The IAA is really important. I don't know like what other people's opinions are on this, right? But I personally think the IAA is really important, as well with the jaw angle. Like if these two things are harmonized well, I feel like you're gonna look like you will look good, right? As long as the other markers aren't totally skewed. That's subjective, and I'm curious what you guys have to say about that, because I don't know too much about that. All right, perfect. Now his lower lip to upper lip ratio. Yeah. I did have to adjust the measurements to this, but let's say that because his mouth wasn't fully closed, if I were to, I could actually readjust it real quick, guys. I wonder if this is going to mess up any of the other measurements. I don't think it will. Yeah, so that did bring him down, actually. Let's see. Yeah, I'd say he's around an 8. It's hard to get this perfect because his mouth is open on this, right? I'm trying not to be biased on this. But obviously, rating a face with... You want to rate a face when it's fully closed, right? So yeah, 7.9 to 8. 8 seems about a good number. I did adjust it. It may not be perfect, right? Could be a little bit bigger, but that would bring him about to a 6.5 on his lips. So really, it's probably he probably has 8 to a 6 on his lips. Probably most likely a 7 out of 10 on his lips, which would bring him to around an 8 on harmony. So that is one of his potentially one of his drawbacks. Not bad. Hey, somebody's texting me, man. Somebody's texting me. Who's that? Also, guys, tinted moisturizer. If you guys have acne scars, got to get yourself some tinted moisturizer. And drink water when you're thirsty. Not because people tell you to. Okay. Eyebrow low settedness. Wait. Okay, I was confused. So it didn't show it at first, but the top line, his eyebrows are really low. So if you look on here, see how low his eyebrows are? So they're close to the top of his eyes, right? That's another good trait to have for sure. And he scored a 10 out of 10 on this. We're just not able to see it that much in these photos because his eyebrows are so low. Yeah. right in the 10 out of 10 range. And if you guys ever want to fix that, just go like this. And then boom, bro. Absolutely locked in. Now you guys are set. Cheekbone height. So yeah, I measured his cheekbones, and he has high cheekbones. Sorry, well-positioned cheekbones, which is high set. Yeah, so he's right in that median, that middle median range of idealness, about 86% or so, potentially 84, 86. Very good. Intercanthal nasal width ratio. And by the way, guys, for the cheekbone height, like, I think cheekbone is one of those important things that it's not going to ruin yourself completely, but it's just a nice bonus to have. Like, I don't know what it is about cheekbones. They're just, like, different than other ratios. Just cheekbones are just so, like, HGN, bro. You know? Cheekbones are HGN, man. All right, so his nose to the middle of his eyes is perfect. Ideal. Nothing too much to say there. And his ears as well. Let's take a look to his ear. Take a look at his ears, right? So this is the ear protrusion angle. So it's basically the start of his zygos, the start of his face, going outwards towards the end of his ears. And he is perfectly in the center, nearly. So he's in the ideal range of the degrees of how much it protrudes from the center of his face. So he was getting this, his right side, if you guys look, it says 12.5 degrees, right? His left side, sorry, it's actually a little wider. So that is unideal, but in totality, he's in the average range. So this is actually outside the ideal a little bit, right? So he goes over the 12-degree marker, right? So if you guys ever look at yourself in the mirror and you notice your ear, right? You guys can kind of imagine like a 12-degree. I know that's kind of weird, right? You get a 12-degree marker and see if it's going to be less than that, right? You know, and also see if it's going to be more than more than 10, right? But less than 12, right? But if you guys want to see your angle if you guys want to see what that is based off of science, this app does that for you. And there is a link in the description as well. Okay, perfect. Let's go to the mouth width ratio. Oh, the interpupillary. Okay, guys, do not botch me on this. Interpupillary mouth width ratio. We absolutely got it. Yeah, so this is ideal. It's about a 0.8, right? Look at him. He's right in. He's right in there. He's right in there. He's sliced in there, right? He got in there, right in between. He's doing great. So, 0.8, 0.79, the width of his mouth to the width of his pupils. Good, very good. Actually, I did already do this. I don't know why I just went back to that. Whatever. Free analysis, I guess. The ear protrusion ratio, absolutely good. Let's wrap things up, guys. Ear protrusion ratio, looking good. Let's see. Yeah, same thing. His ears are kind of wider on his left side. He is slightly over it, right? And then over here, he's slightly in the range. Overall, that does balance out, but it does cause some asymmetry. And finally, his nose tip position is good. That is good. His nose position compared to his base, or his nasal base compared to his nose right in the middle is good. It does flare out a little bit here, but doesn't seem like that's much of an issue because we're not going to be calculating that with harmony. But overall, Atesh Salih scored a 7.9 out of 10, minus or plus maybe 0.25 due to his mouth being open. But that is the facial analysis, so he's going to be the 1 in 1,000 facial harmony. And this is where he is on the chart. So if you guys enjoyed this facial analysis, please let me know who else you would like me to rate in the comments below. I'd be happy to rate a lot of your guys' faces, or not, sorry, not your faces, but who you guys tell me to rate. I do have a lot of people telling me to rate certain people, so you guys will see those videos within a couple days. Just keep an eye out. Subscribe if you want to see more of this, okay? And hope you enjoyed.